why were these specific Pokemon picked? Maybe not. I mean, Lockstin, for you, you're picking out the lore for the Kalos region, but like, also, why were these Pokemon picked for this specific game in the way that this game will play? You know,
I think they'll give us an explanation personally, but yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Like, I'm thinking, like, if these get Megas, if they get regional forms, are those going to play different? Are they going to have different battle styles, essentially?
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's going to be, like, the tank, the DPS, and the, like, buff to buffer kind of thing. Which buff to buffer is absolutely going to be Meganium.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
Can you explain those terms? Because I'm someone who only plays Pokemon, so.
Yes, please do.
I'm dumb.
So DPS, damage per second, that's your, like, high attack but low defense kind of character. Okay. Your tank is just the opposite. Right. You take a lot of hits, but they don't deal the most damage. And then like buff to buffer is, you know, dealing out poisons, and in games that have like team battles, you're like, I'm going to buff my allies and make them stronger, but I'll also make the enemies weaker kind of thing. You know, more magic meta-y kind of thing. You could also think of it kind of... Actually, X and Y, their starters did that. It was the paladin, the mage, and the rogue.
So, I was just about to bring it up.
Rogues are high attack, paladins are high defense, and mages are always buff to buffers.
Oh, that's a neat connection. Yeah, I love that we have both of y'all on, because both of y'all did such fun videos where, like, Lockstin, you went into like the lore of why the starters work for this region, and then Toby, you said something at the very beginning of your video, and I'm not gonna lie, I felt dumb when I heard it, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Like, you know,
what was it?
How have I not heard this?
What was
it?
Where
you said with the starters, you want go ahead and explain it.
Well, I was just gonna, and I saw Lockstin's video as well, and like that's the kind of stuff that I really go to your channel for, because I man, I don't know how you like, whether you've got like a book of like, so all the starters, I know exactly what they're inspired by, and so the British one will probably be there, because you get that video out so quick. All mine was a passing thought, which is cool. We got 2 more Johto starters and 1 more Unova starter. The last Legends game had 1 Unova, 1 Alola, 1 Johto starter. So if the maths adds up, that gives us 1 more Legends game down the line with 2 Alola starters and 1 Unova. Now, maybe it won't work out like that. Game Freak love to throw curveballs, and the moment you think you can predict them, they're a bit like, here's something different with that kind of thing. they change a lot. But yeah, that was my kind of thought.
Well, the thing you said that like I thought was so perfect was you said they used the 2 Johto starters here. Like, you know, of course you were speculating, but like you're like, and the idea is you use the 2 Johto starters here because the next Legends game they have planned is Johto, so they can't be the star. And that, like, when you said that, I was like, wow. I mean, that blew my mind. I was like, oh, that's so good.
That's
I like
the
that little
copium
connection
from me. That's like, oh god, I want Legends
Well,
Johto
it
so
does
badly.
make sense. I mean, you know, it is like what you said. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, I'm done even trying to predict Game Freak at this point because of the 2 Johto starters. But like when you said that, I was like, how, like, we've done a collective like 24 hours, I feel like, of stream since this presents, and I hadn't heard that once, and I was like, oh man, that's like so good.
Thanks. Yeah, I know. I see that. It's
so
funny because people go on.
No, I'm gonna change the subject.
Yeah, do it.
Lockstin, inform us. Why do you think Game Freak chose Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile for the Kalos region? A return to the Kalos region.
Well, aside from that gameplay differences we just talked about, it just makes sense as a setting. You know, France is where aromatherapy came from, and that's Chikorita's line's whole deal. One thing I didn't mention in that video, there's for Totodile. So I mentioned that the first like name brand fashion industry company that just slapped their logo on a thing uses a crocodile as their mascot. And that like sewer alligators are a big thing, and Paris has one of the world's most famous sewer system. But there was one thing a commenter mentioned, and I'm kind of blanking on it now, but I think it was that there was a famous crocodile in Paris like 100 years ago or something like that. I didn't mention it because I just didn't know about it.
We covered that on the show before.
Everything else, I feel like.
Can someone
it's crazy
explain
how
that?
quick you put out those videos where it's just like you've automatically got, okay, well, it's because of this, and it's like, how did you even find that? Like, do you just have that in your head, or do you look this stuff up because you get it out so quick?
Soul, do you know the story?
I don't know the story, but I did a tweet on it a long time ago when I was trying to predict the starters and being like, oh, what could they be? Like, because of Paris or French reasons. And this one was huge because there was a crocodile that was in the Paris sewers specifically. I can find the tweet, but
well, just abbreviate it for us.
For a quick Google search in 1984. They discovered a crocodile living in the sewers, specifically in the Seine River. And apparently it also helped, I don't know if this could be relevant, but it apparently very much helped with Paris's rat population.
Pikachu.
And it was captured, taken to a zoo, and then moved to remote France. But yeah, it was a thing, and it's a pretty big crocodile, honestly. Dusty, where do you want me to send you a picture of her? Her name is Eleanor.
I can look it up.
I think also it's in a museum somewhere now. Like, it's not, maybe not even the actual. Yeah, maybe it's not even the actual crocodile, but it's like, they're like, oh, a museum, this happened. Because I think it's more so a myth, but I don't know. The more I looked into it, they were like, we're not really sure that this actually happened. But yeah, I don't know. It was a long time ago now. It was like,
as of 2018, she was still alive.
Well, yeah, this might be a weird myth then, because Phoebe, in her video, Cupperfee, she did a regional variant, and one of the things she talked about was this crocodile in the sewers. But my understanding was it died relatively young. But yeah, that's the image in her video that you're showing on screen now. So I don't know, maybe I...
Oh, wow.
Possible.
Yeah, the article I'm reading, which, it's the internet, so, like, it's all subject to being wrong, but it's actually the article that you're on, Dusty. It says that she's alive and still at the either zoo or aquarium, but that's 2018, so I'm sure she's dead now. Yeah, but I'm sure they have a bunch of them. Like, you figure, like, Lockstin, you said in your video, Paris has, like, one of the, like, most well-known sewage systems. There's probably, like, crocodiles in there right now that they don't know about. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
crocodiles like in New York sewer right now. Like, it's a thing that happens. Rare, but it does happen.
And also, there's also like Ninja Turtles down there fighting them. Right?
Literally that's all I've been thinking about this whole time. I'm like, that must have inspired the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They're gonna like, dude, let me tell you something. If there's like something in Blastoise's, you find Squirtle in the wild in the sewers of Lumiose. Yeah, there's like 4 of them. They wear sunglasses.
Dude, that is so funny. And what about
Century says they're trained by a Raichu,
yeah, the rat. Lockstin, what about Tepig?
It's just pork. I mean, France is like super into their pork. They did the truffle pigs and all that. Yeah. French cooking is like the most famous part of France, especially from a Japanese perspective. Like, French cuisine is Western cuisine.
Yeah.